Well, here's Australia's Fred Alsopp for his second stepladder match, having already overcome Canada's Jacques Gay to move one place closer to the top. He now faces the home favourite Koichi Takahashi, the champion of Japan, the winner of this match to face Mexico's Mario Quintero for a place in the men's final against the week's top bowler, Cheng Ming Yang of Taipei. Well, before they start, a check on the form guide. You can see here Koichi Takahashi in third place, 148 more points than Fred, and also you'll see in a moment a better average, 211.5 against the Australians' 208.6. However, in this 10-frame game format, these statistics are nothing more than a guide to each man's present form. From Sydney, Fred, the Australian Masters champion, is left-handed, which means for him the pocket is between pins 1 and 2. Does he think he can keep up the good work?
I thought to myself yesterday the hardest one to win would have been the first one, because after that you're more relaxed, you play it on the lane, so hopefully that will come true and we'll be back again after the next match with another win.
9 times Koichi, who incidentally is also left-handed, has delivered 12 straight strikes to achieve the perfect 300 score. This is how he's been preparing for the World Cup.
毎日、フランチャイズのセンターへ行って、だいたい5ゲームぐらいですか、練習して、であと実際にこの会場に2度ほど来て、練習させてもらいました。で私の住んでいるところがここから飛行機で2時間ぐらいの遠いところなもんですから、まあそんだけ意気込みは、あったということです。
Well, this rather abstract-looking diagram tells you, in fact, how much oil conditioner has been laid down the 60-foot lanes and its location. What it's really telling us on the high point is that it's in the centre. Now, the bowlers, of course, they won't have this graph. All they've got are a couple of practice balls to find out exactly where that heavy oil is. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get on with the play, and it's going to be the Australian Fred Alsopp to start. In effect, Koichi's put him in because he had the choice of lanes originally.
Correct, that's it. Koichi decided he'd start on the right lane, and he put Fred Alsopp up on the left lane to start with. So he has first the throw, and very important, get off with a strike. Not quite, not quite.
Fred, of course, who beat Canadian Jacques Gay in the first stepladder match, so he's actually moved up from 5th and is now trying to move up to a guaranteed 3rd place, but there's nothing for 2nd, 3rd and 4th in the World Cup. The prize is to be champion. It's all about prestige, it's not about cash. Which might seem a little strange in these days, but this is a special competition. 33 bowling World Cups there have been before today, and every year it's the one that these men and indeed the women want to win most of all.
Certainly is.
Now Koichi. Terrific week to qualify here. He's really set the Japanese bowling scene alight, and that's a great start.
Beautiful ball, absolutely spot in pocket. See the little 7-pin over the right hand side, just gets a little knock, falls down. Now, you will of course notice that both of these players are left-handed players, so one could actually lean off the other, and that might have been what Koichi was thinking when he put Fred Alsopp in first to bowl, so he could have a look and see what way his ball was reacting going down the lane. Already on 1 strike. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. He's bowled really well all week, has Koichi. He's absolutely been on spot-on form, some phenomenal games. In fact, he opened up with a 259 in his very, very first game of the tournament. Real tall, gets right up to the ball, right into the 1-2 pocket. Beautiful.
I'll tell you the other thing about him is they say he's 43 years of age. He certainly doesn't look it.
No.
Now Fred. He's just had a flavour of what he's up against, and he's got to try and deal with this and give himself another spare.
He just doesn't get it quite out far enough. It comes in just that bit too high onto the head pin and leaves him with the 2 and the 4 pin left standing. You can see he looks a bit not as confident as he did in the first game that we've seen. He doesn't seem to be quite that confident. It's the same pair of lanes, nothing has changed. And that looks good. No problem. Probably the fact that he had to sit and wait till Koichi came in and go through the introductions. There he's talking to his coach and having a look, what's wrong there? I've just got a 9 spare, now I've got an 8 spare. You know, I need to make an adjustment. Do I move left a bit? Do I move right a bit? Quick look at the scoreboard tells him.
He needs to avoid those open frames that he had in the first match. I mean, that's absolutely paramount. Both of these men in the World Cup for the first time representing their countries. As we've mentioned before, neither Australia or Japan in the men's division have ever won this competition.
It's quite amazing because they're both very strong at it. Here we see again the real tall figure of Fred Alsopp. Gets the ball well back, very straight left arm as it goes straight through. Again, him also wearing one of those wristbands on the wrist to keep it straight. Gives him a bit more leverage as he comes through the shot. Attacking the 7 pin here, and no problem. Nice and smooth. And there you see Koichi strike, strike, strike.
Yes, very much in command. Bowling here in Japan, well, 1861 in Nagasaki, the first competition, in Yokohama in 1864, and here in Kobe, 1869 in the Kobe Foreigners Club, the first tournament. But it really burst into major popularity during the 60s. Oh, what a roll this man's on.
Yes, gets it down the left side. Looked a little bit on the light side as it was coming down the pocket. You see how well it's hanging out the left-hand side. Doesn't meet it full meat, just gets a little bit, but never mind, the mix is real good.
He's absolutely a perfectionist in all of his preparation. As he said right at the beginning, he even took the trouble to fly down here from home on 2 occasions to get a feel of the lane. I know you might think that's an unfair advantage, but he's on home territory, why not? But, you know, he had to pay the money, he had to come and make the time to do it.
Paying off. Absolutely fantastic.
This might be a little premature, but wouldn't it be great if we could see a perfect 300?
Wouldn't it just? We did have one this week, remember, that wasn't on the television.
Yes, Paul Boyle of England. A perfect 12-strike game. But I tell you what, Fred Alsopp must be feeling this already. To have 4 strikes reeled off at you. Well, that's the comeback that he needs. He needs a few more of those now, but
wasn't exactly what he was looking for. Again, it goes down the side, but you'll see here that it takes a turn too fast. It starts biting too quick, passes over the right-hand side of the headpin, but it's a strike, and that's what's going to go on the score sheet. He'd prefer it if it was in the left-hand pocket. Right, 5th frame for him. You can see the 4 strikes from Takahashi. 9 spare, 8 spare, 9 spare, and a strike. So ideally, Fred looking for another strike to match the one he has in the 4th.
Well, that's pretty cruel.
They call that the big 4, which is the 4, 6, and the 7, 10, and you can see why. It's straight through the middle of the headpin, and they're never even touched. I've seen this picked up before, but I wouldn't bank on it being happening here. But however, we'd like to see it happen.
Yeah, he could do with this to keep himself there, but he takes the 4 and 7. It didn't kick across, and he's up against it now because 4 frames gone for Koichi Takahashi, but he's not made a mistake. All 4 are strikes. Well, can he keep it going? Frame 5 for Koichi. crowd has grown a little bit. The word has got around the bowling centre. There are one or two who've squeezed in. And that is 5 out of 5.
Well, he's nearly halfway there for the perfect game. And here we see he supports that left hand of his with the right hand, gets the arm really straight, but follows through real good, solid at the foul line. Good delivery, and 5 strikes to prove it.
Fair to say that if he keeps going like this, he's got to beat his average for the week so far of 211, that's for sure.
Once again, it looked good. We see this from behind. Oh, absolutely, yes.
6 out of 6. A pause for Fred to get back in, but Fred must just be wondering what's happening.
It's certainly not easy to be sitting there and have somebody just throw 6 strikes at you. I mean, oh my. Oh dear. Well now, Fred, he's coming off that 6-2 where he left the big 4. He has to get focused, and he's got to stay with him if he can.
Yeah, good boy. You have to stay calm, don't you? You just have to put all of that out of your mind.
And he's certainly done it here. He's keeping calm. He's looking down, got the spot on the lane, got the ball out there, and we've seen the result. Strike on the board. And he's still having a look up there. So, wondering, can I, or will he make a mistake, or can I just keep going with my strikes? Don't forget, it's only the 7th frame.
Yes, he can't worry about what Koichi does. He's got to just focus on what he does.
That's not good now. That's not good, Fred. Once again, he's crossed over that head pin.
I don't think it's a particular problem in picking up the spare. I think it's just the fact that he needs strikes.
Yeah, for sure. He knows that a double there would have given him maybe a little bit of glimmer of hope, depending on what Koichi Takahashi would do. But you've got to keep making the marks on the board. Solid spare anyway.
So the Australian national champion sits down. Maxine Noble, the top seed Gemma Burden to her left there, the British bowler who won the title back in '95. But this is the man who's the centre of attention. I'm surprised to even hear any other balls in the background. I thought everybody would have been in to watch this.
Looks good too. Just tad unlucky. I mean, it really was good. Here we see everything is right. Everything is perfect right up to there. It just refuses. That 6-pin nearly got a knot, but nearly didn't do it. So therefore it still remains.
And the perfect score of 300 now, unattainable. Whatever happens, it's going to be a terrific score. And he's dominating at the moment.
So simple a style. There's nothing forced about it. He's so easy in his approach up to the foul line. Releases the ball, gets to follow through. And there you see the 6 strikes and a 9 spare in the 7th. At this stage, there's quite a bit of work to do for Fred Alsopp. You see on the fingers there, he has these covers that go over those 2 fingers that he uses to put into the ball and then the thumb. Most unusual. You don't see very many people do that. Obviously, you've got some protection on the skin.
And you heard someone say in the background, yes, they knew before that ball was halfway down the lane that we were back in strike mode.
Probably back in strike mode. I think they'll be selling a lot more of those little finger grips as well for people who are putting on the fingers if they think that's what's doing it. But
well, I hate to say this, whatever Fred does from here, it's not going to be good enough. Even if he strikes all the way out here, he's, I'm afraid, up against a man who's in, I should say, or going through a purple patch.
Yes, and it's amazing we see the difference in Fred Alsopp from the previous game that he played. It's just not the same thing. And one doesn't understand why that it's just not going. But again, it's not easy when you're up against somebody that's bowling so good, and obviously the home player as well, and the crowd here are all behind him. But Fred will keep going. listen.
Oh, I was going to say, yes, he's got the two, but...
He didn't like it from the very beginning because he actually came to a halt at the foul line and stuck, so he didn't get the follow through properly all the way up through it. But it doesn't make much difference at this stage, as you already said. He is a long way adrift, but he would like to go out on a high note, and he doesn't want to go out looking as bad. I mean, he came in the last game, he did a real good game when he beat Jack Gay to 205. He doesn't want to be too far adrift from that. 9th frame. That's better. That's better. Yes, you can see. Nice flowing motion down there. Got the ball out. Here it goes. Stays out far enough. Takes the break in on the dry part of the lane down there. Moves in. 1-2 pocket. And a strike.
So Koichi started bowling second, of course. He put Fred in, so he's going to be first to finish. It's a little like being allowed to putt out to take the championship in this case. Thank you very much.
It's like shelling peas, they say. Absolutely superb. Nice little scoreboard to see. Only if you're looking at it from where Takahashi is, not from where Fred Alsopp is. And you can see there's Fred and the coach. They know at this stage that they've conceded.
Very close, actually, to the all-time stepladder high of 278. That was Mohammed Khalifa of the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, who did that in Mexico 4 years ago. He's not going to be that far away if he keeps this going.
He's on target for it right now.
And so often in the stepladder finals, nerves play such a large part. We don't get the high scores. So this is great bowling.
Absolutely. And considering that he's the home player on home TV and in the crowd, all of the home people watching him as well.
I'll tell you, and Mr. Akagi in the VIP stand, the chairman of the organising committee, just sitting behind him there, he's got a broad smile on his face every time this man bowls. And another one. Well, this is absolutely extraordinary. This is true world class.
Absolutely. And I'm sure we're all hoping that can this be the first victory. He has another matches to go yet, don't forget, but he certainly has this one really well wrapped up here.
What a pity. What a pity. Finishes with a 7 for 276. And that is just too short of the all-time high score in the stepladder finals. But a terrific effort.
Magnificent game. Absolutely magnificent. Not a lot that Fred Alsopp could do. I mean, it's awful that he has to stand up here now and finish out, but that's it. And once again, he will make sure that he goes through his set-up program. Oh, well, it doesn't make much difference at this stage, but...
Yes, the man from Sydney smiles wryly.
Not a very nice little spare to have to convert down the end of the lane there, but when you don't need it, it's not bad. It's a question of if you did need it, it would be an awful lot different.
Well, these do get pulled off occasionally.
It's the 6 and 7 pin. Well, I wouldn't bank if he didn't needed that now, would he have done it? That's the question that has to be answered. But watch it, look, he certainly went for it, you have to say that, because the way you release it down, he has to go right of the pin. Does it look right across? Beautiful. Thank you very much. 7 pin is out.
Well, we've seen world-class bowling from Koichi, and there you've seen a world-class shot from Fred.
Beautiful. Nice way to finish for Fred, too.
And it should have been a strike.
Should have been. 7 pin stayed up. 169 game for Fred Alsopp. 276 for Koichi Takahashi.
107 pins, the margin of victory for Koichi. He takes the next step up the ladder. These are the thoughts of the two men.
What can they say? What could I do? I didn't play that great a game, but I don't think it would have mattered what I threw. It was just unstoppable.
予選の時からプレートと一緒に予選を投げていたんで、ぜひ決勝で投げたくて、その希望が叶って、でましてこういう素晴らしいゲームができて、とっても満足しております。
So